wanted to know what those words meant, what those marks on the page meant, and how I could do that, how I could make words and talk to someone's mind without using my voice. Because it's very strange to me that I'm actually standing right in front of everyone here without throwing up. Because that was my voice as a writer. That was the only way I could communicate with other people, because I was such I was an introvert, I was very quiet. People would call me shy, but the truth is I had a lot of stuff inside. And when I meet other people who are the same way, I understand. When someone is quiet, that doesn't mean they don't have anything to say. That means they have a lot to say, and their lot is bubbling up and just ready to burst out of them. So I totally get that, because that's the way I was and still am, really. So it's a miracle to me that I'm actually up here. And the reason why I'm here is because I found my it. I am so excited about it, and I just want to share it with you. I would like to inspire you to burst out of whatever your dream is, whatever your purpose is. Not everyone knows it right away, but some people take their whole lives trying to figure that out. But once again, I think this is a time in your life where you're definitely thinking about it. You're wondering what your paths are. So I'm really happy to be sending you this message today. I encourage you to try out journaling. If you haven't tried journaling, and if you've been maybe interested in trying, you don't have to use one of these. Some people are a little intimidated by the blank book. I encourage you also just use regular paper, This is actually from high school. My teacher gave us this project. She just encouraged us every day to write, to keep a journal. So I did, and I really enjoyed this because it was very fun, actually, handing this in to my teacher and reading what she would write back to me. It was like reading little love notes back. It's like, ooh, what did she think about this? What did she think about this? I really enjoyed that, actually. Because whenever I write something down, I always want to share it, no matter how personal it is. Because the truth is, yes, diaries are, you can keep that stuff secret. Everyone has their own way of keeping a journal or a diary. Some people have a lock on it, some people shove it under their bed, because they don't want anyone to read it, and that's totally fine. Some people actually even burn their diaries or their journals after they finish writing in them because they just don't want anyone to read it. It's very private, or as a symbolic thing. They purge all of their bad thoughts into their journal. I feel like by kind of doing this ceremony or shredding, their behaviors, writing all your thoughts down on this one sheet of paper, all these bad thoughts that you just have to get out, and putting it through a shredder to kind of symbolize getting rid of it. But I've always wanted other people to read what I think, because these are our thoughts on paper. They're so valuable. So don't think that your journal or your diaries are worthless, because it's the most valuable thing in the world. Your journals and your diaries, your personal writings, anything that you create as an artist, anything that comes out of you is extremely valuable, and the world needs it. So that I just wanted to encourage you today. I want to leave you with a little bit of inspiration. Whether you're a writer or an artist, it doesn't matter. This kind of stuff can apply to any dream or any path that you want to pursue. I'm thinking about it right now. So I would appreciate any questions. Oh boy. The simplest questions are always the hardest ones to answer. Lately I really love drawing with my kids' materials. And I'll take out their material, because since I've gone to art school, I have so many inner critics that are telling me, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. But when I get out my kids' washable markers. I kind of have this new thought process where I think, okay, I'm playing now. Because as an adult artist, unfortunately I've gone through a lot of educational stuff and professional stuff, and I'm used to people asking me for changes and adjustments here and there, and thinking, oh, everything has to be perfect. What I really love to do now is just try to get rid of some of that. So whenever I do art for myself, I really concentrate on the fact that it's just for myself. So sometimes I actually do love to experiment and say, yeah, this is just for myself, but let me put it out there on Etsy or something and see if anyone would be interested. Because just even because that's stuff that you do for yourself, those creative projects that you do for yourself, those books that you write for yourself. You might think there's a little voice inside that always wants to say to you, counts, oh, no one's going to want to see this, no one's going to want to buy this, no one's going to want to look at this or read this or whatever. There's that little voice inside you that's saying that all the time, and I hate that voice so much. And that voice will unfortunately always be there, so it's a learning process all the time to just go, shut up, shut up voice, shut up away, and let me try. Let me stick my head out of the shell and see if it's okay.
They're like that too sometimes. I get the question, is anybody else going to read this but you? And I ask them to share films, tell the same thing, just encourage them, because they're good. A lot of them.
Yeah, it's the scariest thing in the world as a creative person to stick your head out. I always think about that metaphor of sticking your head out of the shell, because a turtle is nice and safe inside the shell. That shell is a home, it's a sanctuary, it's very protective, and even if someone steps on it, you'll be safe. But that turtle head is so vulnerable, it's so, soft and squishy, it's like, someone shoot something at me, someone's gonna, punch me or whatever. So that's why I love that analogy, because I feel very vulnerable when I come out of my shell. And there are times, of course, where I've been stabbed in the gut. And it's very, very, of course, I always retreat back into that shell. But what I do, when I do retreat back in that shell, I just don't stay there for 10 years anymore. I don't, because what I do is I go back into my shell and I'm like, okay, regroup, it's okay, are you dead? No, you're still alive, so it's okay. If it doesn't kill me, it's all right. So then I just, give myself a little pep talk, and then I just go back and go, let's try again.
Kelly, you've encouraged you to start writing.
That's good. This is
A couple more questions.
the number one
We
thing.
got to switch back. 2 more questions. Linda?
What was your favorite book that you read?
My favorite book that I wrote. Well, these books are the first of my published books. There's also another book that I've written, though, that I have to get out. This is next in line. This is a children's book called The Odd Ones. Wearing your beard and the odd ones. You see a pattern happening? Yes, as a creative person, I feel like, I've always felt like I've never fit in, and it's a big struggle. So that tends to be in my writing a lot, kind of showing the world that, yes, I know what that feels like, and I just wanted to express to the world, this is what it feels like to feel odd and out of place. Even if you don't look different, you're different. So I actually illustrated my own children's book, and I can't wait to get this out. So this is actually a fancy mock-up that I put together just to encourage myself and to show myself, okay, what it can look like when it's all done. Then I've got, so that's something, it's one of my favorite things so far, but there's so much that must come out of me right now. Now that I've opened those floodgates to publishing, I'm sorry.
Dominic, we got to see you guys.
so sorry.
Have you ever like consulted or something by like writers and artists?
Wow.
and stuff?
Have I ever been consulted with, if I ever consulted with other writers? Absolutely. I actually am part of a writers group in Cleveland, and it's extremely important to group with other people who have common interests, especially as a writer, because writing is such a solitary thing sometimes. It's just really hard to motivate yourself, so it's good to have people around you who can be supportive and also inspire you to be a better writer. I have lots of writer friends.
We have to
So
say thank
sorry.
you guys, but